Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer on mastering deep work. I am so pumped you're here today because we are tackling one of the single most urgent challenges of our modern professional lives, and that is reclaiming our focus. If you have ever ended a long, totally exhausting workday, feeling like you were constantly busy but didn't actually accomplish anything of real value, trust me, you are not alone. Today, we are going to unpack a concept that will completely transform how you work and how you live. Here is our roadmap for today. We're going to hit the shallow work epidemic, deep work as your new superpower, the four depth philosophies, strategies for unbroken focus, and finally, choosing a deep life. Let's just jump right in.
Okay, section 1, the shallow work epidemic. Before we can talk about the cure, we really need to diagnose the disease of our fragmented workdays. Get this. Researcher Gloria Mark found that our median attention span on a single screen has plummeted to just 47 seconds. Literally, 47 seconds. That means half of our interactions are even shorter than that. We're just constantly pinballing from emails to Slack to browser tabs all day long.
And we usually just brush this off, right? We call it multitasking. But task switching is absolutely not harmless. Every single time you get interrupted, like if you pause writing a complex report to answer a quick text, you get hit with a massive refocus penalty. Studies show it takes about 23 minutes just to get your brain back into the zone. This constant context switching is robbing us of 20 to 40% of our daily productivity. It leaves behind this attention residue that just spikes your stress and drains your energy as the day goes on. All of this distraction feeds right into the shallow work epidemic. The data shows a staggering 61% of a knowledge worker's day gets completely swallowed up by easily replicatable logistical tasks. We're talking status updates, forwarding emails, endless calendar Tetris. And look, none of this is inherently evil, but it's incredibly greedy. It expands to fill literally every gap in your schedule, leaving you with absolutely zero time for the heavy lifting, the meaningful work that actually moves the needle. Which brings us to section 2, deep work, your new superpower. It's time to flip the script on all this distraction and look at the ultimate remedy. So, this concept was coined by computer science researcher and author Cal Newport. He defines deep work as professional activities performed in a state of distraction-free concentration that push your cognitive capabilities to their absolute limit. These are the intense efforts that create massive new value. They actively level up your skills, and, the kicker, they are incredibly hard for anyone else to just copy. Let's put these two head to head. Deep work is rare, it's highly valuable, and it's deeply meaningful. It requires sustained focus, we're talking 90 minutes or more, and it builds your expertise over time. Shallow work? That's common, easily replicated, and honestly just super draining. Newport has this great litmus test. If a recent college grad could be trained to do the task relatively quickly, it's shallow work. And there is a massive economic reality here. As technology explodes and global outsourcing becomes the absolute norm, those routine, shallow tasks, they're getting automated or shipped away. This is creating a huge divide in the workforce. If you want to prosper today, you have to be able to quickly master complex challenges and crank out high-quality work fast. Both of those rely 100% on your capacity for deep work. Because distraction is everywhere now, the ability to actually focus deeply is becoming increasingly rare, which makes it increasingly valuable. It's just basic economics. All right, section 3, the 4 depth philosophies. So we know why we need it, but how do we actually pull this off without setting ourselves up for failure? Well, a one-size-fits-all approach is a total recipe for disaster. So Newport breaks down 4 distinct philosophies. First up is the monastic approach. Think radical isolation, eliminating basically all shallow obligations so you can do one thing exceptionally well. Next is bimodal. This is dividing your time into massive chunks, like taking a 4-day weekend just for intense depth and doing the shallow stuff the rest of the time. Third is rhythmic, which is honestly the most practical for most of us. You make deep work a daily habit at fixed times, like, say, every morning from 6 to 9 a.m. And finally, the journalistic approach. This is squeezing into deep work whenever a random 30-minute window opens up. But a quick heads up, this one requires a ton of experience and mental agility to shift your brain into high gear that fast. Take a second and think about which of these 4 paths best fits your specific lifestyle and career. Moving right along to section 4, strategies for unbroken focus. Time to take this from theory to reality and get some actionable strategies. Look, relying on sheer willpower to focus is just not going to work. The secret is lowering the cognitive overhead it takes to get into the zone, and you do that by building strict rituals.
Pick a specific location and time for your focus blocks. Set hard rules, like a strict, non-negotiable ban on the internet while your timer is running. Gather all your support materials upfront, your coffee, your notes, your water, so you aren't burning mental energy fetching them later. And occasionally, you might need what Newport calls a grand gesture. This is a radical change to your environment, like literally booking a hotel room for the weekend just to finish a massive project. It signals to your brain that this is wildly important, and it totally shuts down that urge to procrastinate. Let's layer on to those rituals by borrowing a corporate management framework called the 4 Disciplines of Execution, or 4DX. First, focus on just a small number of wildly important goals. Second, act on your lead measures. So instead of tracking if the giant project is done, just track the actual hours you spend in a state of deep work. Third, keep a compelling physical scoreboard. There's a story of a developer who literally drew a grid on his apartment wall and marked a giant X for every hour of deep work. Finally, create a cadence of accountability. Just set a weekly calendar review to look at your deep work hours and figure out how to level up for the next week.
Now, this next point is absolutely crucial. Usually we try to ban the internet for an hour so we can focus, right? That's taking a break from distraction. Newport argues we have to completely flip that. You have to take breaks from focus. Make deep work your normal, default state. And then schedule specific, timed windows for your internet distractions. Give yourself 10 strict minutes to check Twitter or the news, and then boom, right back to your default state of focus. And that brings us to our final part, Section 5, Choosing a Deep Life. Let's talk about how we wrap up our workdays and the philosophical side of all this. Remember that attention residue we talked about earlier? If you leave your desk stressing over an unfinished task, that residue is going to absolutely ruin your evening. That is exactly why you need a strict daily shutdown ritual. At the end of the day, review all your incomplete tasks and create a trusted plan for them. Get them out of your head. Then shut down completely. No just quickly checking emails after dinner, no replaying awkward meetings in your head. You have to clear that cognitive residue so your brain can actually rest and recharge your limited willpower for tomorrow's deep work. Ultimately, committing to deep work does so much more than just make you a crazy productive economic powerhouse. The simple act of attending deeply to a complex task is intrinsically satisfying. Like Newport says, a deep life is a good life. It gives you this profound sense of craftsmanship, fulfillment, and actual meaning that you are just never, ever going to get from rapidly firing off Slack messages all day. So, I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought to chew on when you look at your calendar tomorrow. Are you spending your days actually creating new value, or are you just coordinating it? The tools to reclaim your focus are right here. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for this explainer on mastering deep work, and I highly, highly encourage you to go schedule your first deep work block today.